This is Cassidy King. Welcome to Sports Goombahs Fantasy Football Tuesday. Special day for us because we're observing the Jewish holiday tomorrow and the Pope's in town. I'm Cassidy King, and Fantasy Football Show is brought to you by Castle Public Adjusters. An insurance claim, make sure you call Castle first, 215-752-1237, or check them out at castlepublicadjusters.com. Well, here we go. Week 3 of Fantasy Football Sports. Here's your man, the guru, Mikey the Wall.
The guru. Never been a fan of the way you pronounce that, for the record. I always go with guru, but anyway, yes, I am your host, Mikey the Wall. I got a new face actually to most of you actually watching this, but unfortunately for me, it's a very common face. This is Joey.
Hello, folks. How you doing today?
Pat. He could have been here, but I didn't invite him back. And that was for the sole purpose of he keeps showing me up with Carson Palmer. 2 weeks in a row, he said Carson Palmer is going to outscore Andrew Luck. 2 weeks in a row, I've called him a moron. And 2 weeks in a row, he was right. So I can't have that. This is my show. I'm the star of the show. I can't have that. So I got to keep finding dumber and dumber people. Joey, you're about as dumb as it gets. Right?
Yeah, it happens.
I'm just kidding. Joey's a great guy. BSBR here. This is week 3 of the Sports Goombahs Fantasy Football Show. If you want to give us a call, give us a text, 267-563-2893. You can always tweet us at Sports Goombahs on Twitter with your questions, comments, anything you want to say, throw it at us. Even if you just want to rip me, which is not really likely because I'm a man. I know what I'm doing here. Rip Joey.
Yeah, I'll get ripped. It happens.
Joey, we're in 2 leagues together, correct?
Yes.
That'd be too cool. Well, I'm just curious. What is your record in both those leagues?
2-0 and 0-2.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So you're hit or miss. In those leagues, I'm 2-0 and 1-1. It's a rough week for me in your league. Thanks, Eddie Lacy. But anyway, let's get right down with quarterbacks. We're gonna throw out a top 12 quarterbacks that we do every week. I'm gonna start with my number one. He's gonna be probably my number one every week until they try to suspend him again. It's Tom Brady. He's at home against Jacksonville. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it every single week. Is a Tom Brady FU NFL tour, and just continue it. Stop number 3 is gonna be in Jacksonville. Number 2, I have Andrew Luck, which it may come as a shock or a surprise to some people because of how poorly he's been. He's been pretty awful. But that being said, I don't think he can do it for 3 straight weeks, and he's playing Tennessee, and Tennessee stinks too. So I think he's gonna bounce back. I think this is the week he's gonna do it. He's pissed. He's got to be pissed. This is like the kind of Tom Brady's been pissed. Going into this year, I think Luck's pissed now because people are starting to question him. Number 3, I have Ben Roethlisberger. He's playing at St. Louis. I mean, he's got He's got Bell back. He still has Brown. It's gonna be. He's gonna continue to be hot. He killed it last week. Number 4, I have Aaron Rodgers. He's at home against Kansas City. It's Rodgers. You can just plug and play. It doesn't really matter who his defense is against. Number 5, I have Russell Wilson. He's at home against the Bears. The Bears are bad. We just saw Carson Palmer did them a week ago. And again, they're also 0-2. So I expect them to bounce back, even though I don't like Wilson ever. Number 6, Peyton Manning. He's at Detroit. He's in a dome against a team that got lit up by Phil Rivers week 1. It's Detroit. I mean, they're not that great. And I think Manning's, and he obviously, if this was just first half of last week, he may not crack the top 12, but he showed he still is Peyton Manning. He's not, he's not dead yet. Number 7, I have Matt Ryan. He's at Dallas. It gets pretty thin after the top 6, I'd say. I mean, Ryan, he didn't have as great a game week 2 as he did week 1, but he's still, it's Dallas, and he's in, being in the dome-ish, whatever Cowboy Stadium is. Number 8, I have Eli Manning. He's at home against the Redskins. Again, it's the Redskins. They're not great, and Eli Manning's going to keep throwing. They don't have much of a running game to speak about. Number 9, I have Cam Newton actually making his debut for me in this in these rankings. He's at home against New Orleans. New Orleans they're bad. They just got beat by Winston. So and Cam, he's going to continue to run. He looks pretty good. Number 10, I have Carson Palmer. I hate to do it. I mean, if he's going to keep playing this well, we have to keep putting him in there. He's at home against San Francisco. Number 11, I have Andy Dalton. He's at Baltimore. Dalton, it's actually his first appearance in here as well. Dalton, he had a good week last week, and then week 1 he had a solid week against Oakland. So
he played well both weeks actually.
Yeah. So he has played well. Baltimore just got lit up by David Carr. Yeah, so I think Dalton's a good play here. Number 12, again, this is if he's if he's healthy, as opposed to hurt. We'll more into that later. Drew Brees. He's at Carolina again, another 0-2 team. If he's playing, he's got to be pissed, right? He just lost at home. He got embarrassed by Tampa Bay.
Carolina actually has a really good defense, so
but they lost their best player.
It's true, but he's not the Drew Brees of old.
He's not, and that's why he's 12.
Wants him to be there.
Because if Drew Brees of old would have been top 4. But that's my top 12, Joey. What do you got?
All right, I got Tom Brady versus Jacksonville,
Easy.
number 1. My thoughts here is actually good, bad. I like Brady. I just think that Jackson, he's going to put so many points on the board real quick that
that's
he's not
what I'm
going
worried
to pass
about.
the ball. So I wanted to slide him down my list, but he's Tom Brady, and
he's got to do what he's going to do in the first half.
Exactly, and he's going to do it. It's because he's Tom Brady. And then number 2, I have Aaron Rodgers. You can't not start Aaron Rodgers. There's nothing else to say there. Number 3, though, I have Eli Manning against Washington.
Everyone seems to be higher on Eli than I am.
Not that I'm huge on Eli. I just Washington, they're not good, and the Giants' defense isn't good, so they're just going to keep passing all game. No run game. He's just going to pass. That's what he's going to do all season. Rashad Jennings stinks, and the only run game they have is Shane Vereen.
Catching. It's not a run game.
That's the only. It's not a run game, but it's when you're passing him, when you're standing right next to him, it's it's terrible.
Not great.
Russell Wilson in Chicago. Chicago's god awful.
You don't have to explain that one much more than that. Chicago's awful.
Yeah,
they just got 50 put up on them by Arizona.
Yeah. Number 5, I got Peyton Manning versus Detroit. I just think that's going to be passing. I mean, Peyton Manning looked awful week 1. Week 2, the first half, he looked awful, and then pretty much said, Gary Kubiak, shove it. I'm taking over. And
which is what he needed to do.
And exactly.
How many times did Nance and them on the telecast? How much times did they remind us it's just Kubiak's offense now? Yeah.
Well,
Peyton can't do what he wants. Well, no, Peyton can do what he wants.
Yeah, because he showed that when he called the timeout, and Kubiak goes, who the F called a timeout? And they showed him, and he goes, I did. And then, they went at it in halftime, but nobody's going to say they did.
And Peyton Manning's always going to win that argument.
Exactly. And that's just going to be a
we can do bench him?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, bench Peyton Manning. That'll be the fastest way out the door. I put Andrew Luck at number 6. I dropped him all the way down. I mean, I think he's got. You have all
the reasons. The rights too. I'm not going to get on you for that.
Yeah,
he's been awful.
He's been awful, but it's Tennessee. They're awful, so he can.
It's 2 awful worlds colliding.
Exactly. So that means a good week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And there's no way he goes 0-3. I don't think.
I don't think so.
So I think that's going to be it. Number 7, I have Big Ben versus St. Louis. St. Louis does have a good defense, but Pittsburgh's just firing all cylinders right now. Big Ben and Antonio Brown might be the best quarterback wide receiver combo in the league.
Since and Manning Harrison or Brady Moss.
Back in the day, yeah. I also have at number 8, Carson Palmer versus the Niners. The Niners stink. Everybody keeps leaving. Palmer just keeps going out there and he hit this fountain of youth. I don't know where it came from because he stunk. He was okay in Cincinnati, and then
he stunk in Oakland, but everyone does.
Yeah, and then just.
How about Larry Fitz? Fitz getting 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, they both took a bath in a fountain of youth somewhere.
That helped nobody's fantasy team.
No. I at number 9, I have Cam Newton in New Orleans. Cam Newton literally has no one to throw to, but he still is actually pretty good.
He still runs.
He's going to run a lot. But New Orleans is that awful where you don't need anybody to throw the ball to. So
he's got Ted Ginn. Come on.
Yeah. Right, and a tight end, wide receiver, whatever you want to call him,
with 2 catches.
You got and then I got Matt Ryan. I love Matt Ryan, but he's not doing it. He's still already week 1 he did great. Week 2 he just I'm here. I'm just gonna keep passing to Julio. Eventually,
why not?
But eventually at some point they're just gonna put everyone on a Julio, and
he's fine.
Do it. He's gonna have to try something else, and that's where it's gonna come in. Number 11 though, I have Nick Foles versus Pittsburgh.
Ooh.
Now,
explain yourself.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Nick Foles played well week 1. Nick Foles played exceptionally well week 2. He actually played better week 1 than week 2, but he's going to be behind, so he's just going to pass, and that's what I'm basing this on.
Yeah, and that could be pick and pick.
Nah, he's fairly accurate. I mean, he's. I'm not buying that. I'm thinking he's going to pass, and it's going to be He's going to be playing from behind. He's going to get a bunch of BS points at the end of the game in the middle of it's second
Well,
half.
I hope you're starting him this week.
Huh?
I hope you're starting him in all your leagues this week.
I do have him in one league, and I thought about it, but I can't because I have Peyton Manning, and you can't bench Peyton Manning. So, and then number 12, I have Matthew Stafford versus Denver, and the same reason I was going with for a couple of the other games. It's just going to be shootout, pass, and that's going to be it. There's going to be nothing else because there's no run game and on either team, so they're just going to drop back pass, and Peyton Manning's going to win that one. But
now, before we get into sleepers and busts on quarterbacks and waiver wire pickups, injuries, all that kind of stuff, I do want to remind you can tweet us, or you can actually call us, text us, or go on Facebook and comment. We had a question of the day today, and that was who has been the biggest bust so far of 2015 through 2 weeks. A couple of guys out there: DeMarco Murray, Andrew Luck, C.J. Anderson, Lamar Miller, Mike Evans, or anyone else. Anyone you feel who has been the biggest bust to you through 2 weeks? We'll get to that later in the show, but just throwing it out there now if you want to think about that and let us know whether it's just your team personally or just in general. Sleepers, Joey. Sleepers and busts for this week. Is there anybody you like a little under the radar and Tony you don't like?
Actually, sleeper this week. I have Andy Dalton. A lot of people don't have him ranked, but in the one league I'm in, he put up 22 points the first week. He put up 27 points last week.
Yeah.
Baltimore is not that good. I mean, you
don't have to go too much into it because I have him as 11th, so I do like Dalton as a sleeper.
But I do like the fact that this year he's finally learning. I have more than just AJ Green on the league.
I don't like that because I have AJ Green, so I don't like that.
You may not like that, but I mean, from a fantasy point, you're looking at.
I wish he had Matt Ryan syndrome and just chucked it to AJ every time. That'd be great for me.
Yeah.
Who do you have as a bust?
Bust. I have Ryan Tannehill.
Versus
Buffalo. Buffalo's got a good defense. Ryan Tannehill really didn't do a whole lot against the Jaguars, and they're the Jaguars.
I mean, he had two opportunities to kill it, coming with Washington and Jacksonville, and Tannehill really didn't. He really let me down. I had him high going into the season, so I do agree with that one as well. Anyone on the waiver wire worth picking up?
I mean, not if you need a waiver wire pickup right now, not really. There's
no one you want to throw in your lineup.
Yeah, no one's going in your lineup. If you're going to do it, I mean. Some people I know have Kaepernick. I do. I think Kaepernick is he's been better. I don't really know why. I guess his weapons aren't really better. I mean, Vernon Davis is even older, and Torrey Smith is not really. He's putting the ball in his own hands now. So let's see what happens. I also like Ryan Mallett. I'm only a Ryan Mallett fan because he's got a good arm. I think that he just needs to just keep.
I think
passing.
getting Foster back will help him.
Huh?
I think getting Foster back very soon possibly will definitely help him.
Yeah. I was reading he might show up this week.
I was reading that as well.
If he does, then that definitely help him out so much. Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer's awful. He's terrible, and Mallett actually has a solid arm.
Yeah, I do like Mallett. My sleeper for the week, and again, this is somebody I would never start, but Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's playing the Eagles. He's at home. Apparently, the Jets aren't awful. Apparently, they can score.
I don't think I said they're not awful. I mean, look who he's throwing the ball to. I mean,
although Decker is injured from hanging, he's not really going to play again. We'll get to that when we get to receivers. But exactly for that reason, I mean, Marshall is good enough and have a good running game.
Even though Marshall's
and the Eagles are, Eagles defense isn't awful, but the Eagles as a team have not looked good so far.
Yeah, but they can't cover anybody or tackle, so he's just going to pass.
So I think Marshall's going to have a big game. More on that later. My bust of the week, same game actually, Sam Bradford. I think it's time to pull the plug on him fantasy-wise until he actually shows it. I'm not saying he's done for the year. I just think Bradford, at least for the time being, you got to find somebody else. He just put up, I think, 3 points in my league.
Yeah.
I played against him, thank God. But yeah, I think Bradford, for now, he's got to be sit. You got to sit him. In my waiver pickups, of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick, as I mentioned, because I'm sure nobody has him already. Johnny Manziel. Again, I wouldn't want my lineup yet, but now that it looks like he's going to have the job for a little bit now.
No, from what I understand, and they still have him second in the depth chart. And
but McCown,
they want to say he's going to start this week.
They want to say, but they're not going to.
I hope you're right because I actually am a Manziel fan, but
just with him getting more, he's going to get more rushing yards than most other quarterbacks, and he is good for a bomb or two a game apparently. And my third guy is a guy we mentioned last week, but I think it's time to officially anoint him as fantasy ownable is Tyrod Taylor. He had another big week this week. Granted, it was a lot from behind against New England, so he racked up a lot of garbage points. But he does run a lot, and I think he threw 3 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, and he makes the game. he makes the game more. I don't know where I'm going with this one.
I don't know.
He did well. He opens up the field a little more because he's not afraid to run. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. He's not like Cam Newton's not. Cam Newton runs because he has to. But he did get hurt a couple years back, so he doesn't run as much.
Oh, I'm sure Tyrod Taylor's gonna get hurt at some point.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I wouldn't bet any money he's gonna play 16 games, but
yeah, he's just gonna go though. That's
yeah. I mean, Tyrod Taylor. At least I think he should be owned now. Definitely, especially with some of the quarterbacks are dropping. With we have that's nothing I want to get to now is the injuries. With Tony Romo obviously out. Would you cut Tony Romo? Do you think it's safe to cut Tony Romo from your fantasy team?
They're saying 8 to 12 weeks.
I don't think he's good enough to warrant the backup spot. Because I mean, if you're going to play somebody else instead of him, and nobody's had bye weeks yet, so whoever you're replacing him with, that guy's gonna have a bye week. So if you're going to keep Romo, you're going to keep 3 quarterbacks in your team. I don't ever advise 3 quarterbacks. I think it's safe to drop Romo. Brandon Weeden, I don't think he has much fantasy value, so I don't think it's one of those things where you have to go grab the backup.
No.
If they had Dez, possibly. But obviously Dez is not there, so don't worry about Weeden. Stafford's banged up. He may not play. Obviously, I don't think Dan Orlovsky matters. Drew Brees, same thing. I don't know if he plays out this week. If he does, obviously, I do like him a little bit, but they're saying he has a shoulder injury, and his shoulder's never – his arm isn't really strong to begin with anyway. His backup is Luke McCown. You can obviously ignore that. And then one person who is full-fledged out is Jay Cutler. Doesn't matter. You can avoid him and Jimmy Clausen as well.
I mean, if you're looking for, you get bonus points for interceptions, then you might,
If you get bonus points for interceptions, Jimmy Clausen actually is a pretty good spot to start this week. I do like that. That's a good call, Joe.
The good
running backs. I'll do my top 10. If we go any further, my number 1 running back this week is Marshawn Lynch. He's at home against Chicago. Chicago again.
Agree.
It's awful, and it's a safe play. Number 2, I have Adrian Peterson. He's at home against the Chargers. He had a much better week 2 than he did week 1. I guess they're starting to trust him and ease him more into the game. Number 3, the debuting Le'Veon Bell. I don't really know where to put him, but after the top 2, I think this is a safe spot. Going forward, he may be number 1 every week if he keeps playing like he did last year. My number 4, I have Jamal Charles. He's at Green Bay. Until he gets hurt, which I'm pretty confident he's going to, I'm going to ride him out as a top 5 running back. Number 5, I have Matt Forte. He's at Seattle, so it's not a great matchup. But with Clausen in there, obviously, I think they're going to lose a lot. I think they're going to lose by a lot, so it's going to be a lot of dump offs. I think Clausen's going to be scared to go deep, and especially with Jeffrey, who knows if he's playing or not. So I think Forte, I think you can bank on like 10 catches at Forte this week. Granted, this is all PPR. We always do PPR here. If he's not PPR, move him down like 15 spots.
Yeah.
My number 6, I have Eddie Lacy again. This is if he plays. He was banged up and he screwed a lot of fantasy owners, myself included. But he's at home against Kansas City. So if he plays, I'm always going to roll with Lacy. I do trust him when he plays. That's the problem. Number 7, Justin Forsett. He's been a bit of a disappointment. He had an okay week, but he's at home against Cincinnati. And the running backs, I mean, it's hard after the top 5 really of who to trust and who not to trust because there's been a lot of disappointments, a lot of
you can't trust
injuries, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of guys coming out of nowhere, which we'll hear about later. So that's why I have number 7. My number 8, I have Jeremy Hill. It's not an injury concern. That's why I'd rather you get benched for fumbling than you getting hurt. Because the next week they can go right back to you, and as long as you don't fumble, you'll keep your job. So I do like Hill against Baltimore, but obviously we just saw what Oakland did to Baltimore. My number 9, Shady McCoy. He's at Miami. Miami has not been that impressive. As long as McCoy's healthy, as long as his hamstring holds up, I think he's a top. I think he's an RB1 this week. And my last of the number 1 running backs in 10-team leagues, Devontae Freeman. He's going to be the number 1 guy easily now, or at least for the next week, and that's all we matter week to week. Yeah. Devontae Freeman's at Dallas. I don't think the Dallas run defense is as good as it looked last week, just because the Eagles' offensive line is that bad. But I do think Devontae Freeman's going to have a good week. Who you got in your top 10?
It's very far fetched, but
that's what I want to hear, Joe.
I got Marshawn Lynch for Chicago. There's no question there. Jamal Charles, Green Bay, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, right. Like I said, you can get the top ones out of the way easily.
Now number 4, I have Matt Forte based strictly only on PPR because I agree he's going to get dumped off a lot. If it's not a PPR league, I dump him way down because Seattle's defense is tough. They are going to bang them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now number 5. I have Latavius Murray.
All right.
At Cleveland. Cleveland's not that good, and when David Carr played a full game, Murray was solid. When he didn't, they didn't know what to do with the run game, so I like that there. Number 6, I have Chris Ivory. Yeah, I actually like that because he's we're gonna get so tired from being on the Philadelphia Eagles are gonna get so tired from being on the field on defense after this last game and what they're gonna do this game. They're just gonna run all over them. I like Chris Ivory this week. Number 7.
I knew you'd say something dumb. That's why I brought you in. So I appreciate that one.
Well, I mean, if this happens,
Yeah.
it'll go on the Carson Palmer.
You'll go on the Carson Palmer.
I have Le'Veon Bell at number 7, and the only reason I have that is he's 2-game suspension, hasn't played yet. So
you're all right. Let me just throw a theoretical out there. You're in a league where you start 2 running backs and no flex, and you have Marshawn Lynch, Le'Veon Bell, and Chris Ivory. You're dead seriously going to bench Le'Veon Bell.
I don't like. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go with what I'm saying here.
All right. I'm just making sure you stand by it.
I like Le'Veon. I do like Le'Veon Bell. If we were drafting today, I would still take him in the top 5 pick. It's coming off. It's against a good defense. Yeah, St. Louis has a good line. Got good linebackers. He's got to run through him. Hasn't played in 2 games. That offense does fire real well when D'Angelo Williams was running the ball. But is he ready? That's the only thing that questions me there.
Spoiler alert. Yes, he is.
Yeah. Number 8, number 8, I have TJ Yeldon versus New England.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because as you said before, they're gonna get blown up by halftime. So naturally they're gonna be pounding the rock in the second half.
Because Jacksonville's dumb. They do dumb things. They don't do anything like
they just won.
Yeah, but
they just won a game.
I know, but they just still do bad things.
I like Yeldon. This isn't the week for Yeldon though. Yeah. But continue.
I like number 9. I have Jonathan Stewart versus New Orleans. He's just gonna run all over them. New Orleans stinks. Number 10, I actually have Dion Lewis versus Jacksonville. I like Dion Lewis coming into the season. Drafted him in a couple leagues. But they didn't even give Blunt a chance last week.
Because they threw every play.
Huh?
Because they threw every play.
Yeah, well,
and Blunt can't get the ball to save his life.
Lewis is averaging roughly 5 yards a carry. So I mean,
yeah, I don't think that's so at all. I see.
And they're giving it to him on the goal line.
That was your number 10.
Huh?
That was your number 10.
Number 10. Yeah.
All right, so I'll kick it off from 11 to 20. My number 11 is Latavius Murray. So I do like him. I just don't like him as much as you do. Again, he's playing Cleveland, so he should be fine. My number 12 is Dion Lewis. He's at PPR. He's found the Vereen role. And they're going to throw a lot, and I think he's going to get those points early. Second half, I think it's going to be a running game. So Blunt may take it because Blunt's more the carrier, the runner of the two. But I like Murray overall. Number 13, I have Isaiah Crowell. I actually had a pretty shady good game last week. A solid game, like 12, 13 points in a PPR league. He plays at home against Oakland. The only thing I worry about is if Manziel is a quarterback, going forward, he's not the greatest passer, so they may stack the box against Crowell. Never thought I'd say that before. Number 14, Danny Woodhead. You can start him every week from now on. He's always gonna catch balls. He's always gonna play well. Woodhead I think he's actually like top 10 in running back point started this year. He plays at Minnesota, so continue that to continue. Mark Ingram is my number 15. He's at Carolina. Ingram's been solid. The Saints have been at this point, but he's been solid. My number 16 is DeMarco Murray. He's not going to run for 2 yards again. I'm going to go on a limb there. But the one thing about Murray is, as bad as he's been, he's still gotten points. Week 1, he scored 2 touchdowns. Last week, as long as you're in a PPR league, he had 5 catches and like 55 yards. So even with that, just alone, he had double digits, which again is not what you want out of your first or early second round pick, of what most people have him as. So, but he hasn't been as awful and useless as he may seem like he's been.
No,
he's getting points other ways. I think they're gonna make it a point because how many you can't get bashed with on a weekly basis by the media and by the fans, by everybody. I know they don't really care about that, but they're gonna make an effort, I think, to give Murray the ball. Although I don't like the fact that he's playing the Jets, who have a very tough defense.
Very true.
My number 17 is Carlos Hyde. Again, I hope this is as long as he plays. He's actually, I think, still the leading rusher in football through 2 weeks. But he plays Arizona. Arizona's a good defense, and I know he's a concussions issue. So if he plays, he's still a safe bet to start. Number 18, I'm going to roll the dice one more time. C.J. Anderson. He's at Detroit. This is his last shot. Even if I didn't have him, this is my last shot to have him in his rankings. He plays at Detroit. He said, "You're hoping for a shootout. I'm hoping for a Broncos blowout." Let Manny get his points there. Let CJ get him later. Number 20, who actually I realized I didn't. Actually, that's my number 19, Doug Martin, at Houston. He's actually he's kind of like in that Crowell Ingram where he's been solid for 2 weeks, but he hasn't really stood out at all. But he'll continue to be solid against Houston. I just realized I didn't put anyone for number 20, so I'm going to throw somebody out there as I go along. It's David Johnson. He's at home against San Francisco. The guy he's been electric. Every time he touches the ball, it seems like he's doing some good with it. Again, this is as long as Ellington doesn't play. I mean, I know obviously Chris Johnson's going to be there, but I think they're starting to realize that that's not the way to go. So David Johnson's my number 20. Joey, what do you got for 11 through 20?
All right, 11. I got Shady versus Miami. He's got to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got to go through that line. So in the PPR league, it's going to be solid. For some reason, they're not giving him to a goal line, but they got a little bit bigger back, so that's going to hurt him a little bit. Number 12, I have DeMarco Murray. He's going to get your points. Don't know how he's going to get your points, whether, he's going to bust one out for a touchdown. He's going to get it on the goal line, which, that's highly unlikely. But again, somebody's going to catch the ball in the backfield of the Eagles. That's just the way it's going to go, and they're all going to get catches. So Murray's going there. I have Eddie Lacy here at 13. If he's healthy, he moves way up. We know he's not 100%, so I have him here. I got number 14. I got Carlos Hyde, Arizona. Again, if he's healthy, he is the leading rusher. Arizona does have a good defense, but you can't not start him. I have number 14.
But you can not start Le'Veon Bell though. But anyway,
I have Justin Forsett versus Cincinnati. He hasn't been playing so hot, but he is a starter. Now here's where I'm gonna
a ringing endorsement by Joey. But he is a starter.
Yeah, he's a starter. ... Yeah.
Anyway.
I got Danny Woodhead. At 16-17, I actually have Danny Woodhead, Melvin Gordon. Danny Woodhead in PPR is going to get you where you need to go. Melvin Gordon is the bull nose runner or the nose runner, hard nose runner going north to south. He's going to get you that way. You're going to get points out of either guy that way. I have Lamar Miller versus Buffalo. It's a very tough defense, but he can't be that bad 3 weeks in a row.
I think he can.
So,
I think it's safe to say he can.
Number 19, I have Devontae Freeman. I wanted to put him higher. He's just very small. He's more of a change of pace back than he is an every down back. But the problem there is the other guy who's backing him up is another small guy who's more of a change of pace back than he is.
Who's your backup?
Taron Ward.
All right.
Taron Ward.
Just checking to see if you know.
They're both the same size. They're both not big guys at all. And then number 20, I have Chris Johnson. He got the bulk of the carries last week. San Francisco's not the San Francisco old on defense, so I went with that route. I did think of, the other guy who's there, and the other guy's more flashy.
He's awful.
He's like a Chris Johnson of the past.
He's awful. So 2 sleepers, Joey, or 1 or 2. What do you got?
All right, I actually have Isaiah Crowell this week. You have him ranked a lot higher than I do. It is.
He's not a sleeper. He's a star.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
That's fine.
They're reporting Todd Gurley's going to start this week. I think if he starts, you got to play him as your flex, or maybe your number 2. I
kind of want to wait and see on him. He's not returning from suspension. He's returning from a torn ACL. So I want to give it 1 week, but I do like Gurley as well. My 2 sleepers this week, I have David Johnson, as I mentioned earlier, against San Francisco. Also Shane Vereen against Washington on Thursday night. I think Vereen's gonna have a good week. He's gonna keep catching passes.
Yeah.
My 2 busts for this week, I have Lamar Miller against Buffalo. The guy I had a top 10 running back 2 straight weeks, and I got him completely out of the top 20 now. You're probably gonna start him based off because you drafted him early and you don't really have a lot of behind him, but it's not gonna be a pretty week. Another bust. I'm not saying he's really a bust because he's not really that great anyway, but he had a good week 1. And I just think you can completely ignore this guy now. Is Bishop Sankey. I don't like Bishop Sankey at all in any of these leagues.
I never really had a thing for Bishop Sankey.
I did before the draft.
Yeah,
That's right. Who's your bust this week?
Yeah, for me, I got. I didn't rank any of Denver running backs, but I say going into the season, I can't trust any Denver running back. So that's
as a whole,
right there. As a whole,
yeah.
They haven't had a solid running. They haven't had one solid guy since Terrell Davis. Really, they would just whoever started this year didn't started the next year.
Portis had a good run, but that didn't last too long.
Yeah,
they shipped him off.
I also didn't rank any Cincinnati running back because I like Hill. He's fumbling. I do like Giovanni Bernard, but he It depends on how they go with this one. Can you really trust either one of them? And I didn't rank any of the Dallas running backs because they just split the carries way too much.
They haven't been, and they haven't been great even when they've been getting the ball. Waiver wire pickups this week. I mean, obviously got Matt Jones, who's a hot guy. I think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna win the job and be the guy, but he's gonna continue to take carries from Alfred Morris. I mean, they carried the ball. They ran the ball like 37 times this week. Yeah. The odds of that happening every week is not the high. No, especially in Gruden's offense. But I mean, you definitely want to at least add him. Also, I mean, I have Ronnie Hillman if he's still out there because, like I said, this is CJ's last shot. If he doesn't get it, I think it's Hillman's job. And then of course James Starks, just because if Lacey doesn't play, you got to start the Packers running back. Yeah, I mean, I have the same thing. I got Starks for that reason. The Matt Jones, and I actually I like Carlos Williams because he got the goal line carries. I like Carlos Williams too. I also was thinking, where is it? I just had his name. No, I can't. Glad to hear you're thinking. Oh, yeah, Terran Ward, just because of what I said earlier, is one of them. They're not huge guys. Maybe it depends on how long Coleman's out. It might be worth a roster spot if you have an extra one. And injury update for these. I mean, obviously you start Lacey if Starks doesn't play. Arian Foster, if he plays, obviously you roll with him. Other than that, you can completely ignore Chris Polk and sadly Alfred Blue, Joey's 5th round pick. Yeah, I don't know why. 6th round, sorry. I looked at my book and looked at a couple things, and I had him last year, and he did well last year. It's awful. It was bad. And lastly is Todd Gurley. If he plays, you can start him. I wouldn't. I would wait a week to see how they shake that out with Mason and him. And that's the injury update here. Well, but I actually got. I like. If Hyde doesn't play, I think Reggie Bush could be a good. Reggie Bush is hurt as well. Yeah, but as far as I would never start Reggie Bush as a flex player. He definitely has potential there. You could do much better, hopefully. We're gonna take a quick break, go to the ads, and then we're gonna come back with some receivers. And like I said, you can give us a call 267-563-2893. You can tweet us, you can text us, you can do whatever you need to get in touch with us. And also with the question of the day: who's been the biggest disappointment through 2 weeks of the season? And we will be right back.
Had damage to your house? Avoid the hassle. Just call Castle Public Adjusters. Get the edge on your insurance company. 215-752-1237. That's 215-752-1237. Or check them out at castlepa.com. Don't settle for less. Get the maximum for your claim. Castle Public Adjusters, 215-752-1237.
Hey, yo, Cassie, what are you doing?
I got plumbing problems here. I can't get the water to go down the drain. What am I going to do?
Call Guaranteed Plumbing, 215-342-7200 for all your plumbing needs. Serving the Philadelphia area and the greater Delaware Valley.
What was that phone number again?
215-342-7200.
Oh, yeah, oh.
All right, welcome back. Second half of the SG Fantasy Football Show. I am your host, Mike of the Wall, joined this week by formerly Fat Joey.
Yeah, formerly.
That was the best nickname ever. Actually, my team name last year in fantasy, remember, was formerly Fat Joey.
Fat Joey, yeah. I get.
For those of you who don't know, Joe used to weigh. What was your max?
425.
425.
Yeah.
Now he's a very slender.
Sexy individual.
Now he's very slender. One something. I don't know what it is, but it makes me sad to see that because I prefer my Joey's fat.
Yeah.
We had a Cash is in shock over here. Sorry, I didn't need to throw that out at him. Really alarm him there. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a visual. He would have been much better to look at if he had the whole 420 on him. Yeah. We're gonna get right into it with wide receivers. My top 10 receivers. Number one, like I said, it's gonna be every week. It's gonna be Antonio Brown. He did it again this week. Another monster game. He's playing at St. Louis. I'm not scared of St. Louis. They have a better run defense, if anything, but they're going to continue to air it out to him and him only. Number 2, I can even call him 1A. It's Julio Jones. Matt Ryan has his eyes for one guy. He's a very. I would trust him in a relationship if I was a girl because I know he's got eyes for one person only. And in this case, it's Julio Jones. He's at Dallas. Continue that. Number 3, I have Odell Beckham Jr. He killed it last week, and he's going to kill it again this week. He's at home against Washington. Week 1, he was a little slow, but I think we're seeing Odell again for real. Number 4, again, this is make sure it's PPR. Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman is 10 catches a week. He may break the record this year.
Possible.
It's very possible. Like I said, it's 10 catches a week out of Julian Edelman, and he's playing Jacksonville. No one's going to stop him there. Number 5, AJ Green. I'm pretty sure he caught a touchdown pass this week. He's been better. So Green's still top 5 for me. He's at Baltimore again, who just got torched by Oakland. Number 6, Demaryius Thomas. It's the same guys pretty much every week. What's the one position where you really haven't had any big major flops? I mean, running back, we've had a lot of guys come up and down, and same with the quarterbacks with injuries and new guys. But receivers have been pretty steady. Number 6 is Demaryius. He's at Detroit. Number 7, Calvin Johnson scored this week. And like you said, I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be as big a shootout. I think it's gonna be a lot of Denver taking a big lead, and then Detroit trying to catch up. So I like Calvin. Number 7. My number 8 is Emmanuel Sanders. Same game, 6, 7, and 8. Emmanuel Sanders. I actually had him as my bust of the week last week. He ended up being a top 5 receiver. So that showed how great I was. I just thought I was under the impression that Manning was done. And I thought Demaryius would pull ahead, but now Emmanuel's still alive too. My number 9 is Randall Cobb. He's at home against Kansas City. I don't need to say anymore. He's Aaron Rodgers' top target. My number 10 didn't have a great week 2, but I expect him to bounce back. He's at home against Tampa's DeAndre Hopkins. I still have Hopkins as a top 10 receiver this week. Joey?
All right, I got Antonio Brown and Julio Jones 1, 2. I went with DeAndre Hopkins number 3 against Tampa Bay.
Wow. I thought I was being generous with the 10.
I think this week he's gonna go off. He didn't do so hot last week. He's gonna.
That's fair. I like him.
I actually number 4, 5. I have the Denver guys: Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders. Thomas is gonna do it all. Sanders is gonna catch the first downs and get 10 catches, or we'll say 7 to 10 catches, just based on getting first downs when they need it. You know. I have Odell Beckham as number 6 against Washington. Washington stinks, and I plan on Eli just keep passing it to him. Julian Edelman, same thing. He's going to catch their triple 4, 5 teaming Gronk, and he's wide open every time.
It's not going to matter.
Yeah. Calvin Johnson, number 8 versus Denver. They're just going to pass the ball both ways. That's what I think. We have number 9, Randall Cobb against Kansas City.
So we literally have the same exact top 10.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then number 10, I actually have Brandon Marshall.
Never mind.
Nobody can catch or nobody can tackle in Philadelphia, and Brandon Marshall's as big as a linebacker. So.
That was loud. Hey, welcome to the show. You're on.
Hey, Mikey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good. It's Pat checking in. I had to give you your props for last week having Brady ranked so high. I didn't have Brady in the top 10 last week. I'm calling in to give you your props, letting you know I was wrong about last week.
You
Brady
were wrong.
Is on a revenge tour.
He's on the revenge tour. It's going to last, like I said, 16, 17 weeks. Obviously, even I think on his bye week, I may start him as well. But I got to give you props too. I mean, I don't want to. This isn't supposed to be a love fest, but Carson Palmer, man, tore it up again.
Yeah, I'm happy with Palmer's doing. He's looking good. Teddy, he's getting better last week. Still not where I want him to be, but I actually had a question for you guys tonight on the flex.
What do you got?
I got my flex position. I can go with David Johnson, Freeman, running back from Atlanta, or Golden Tate. What do you go with?
I'll take this one first, Joey, and you can come in. I like Devontae Freeman. Like I said, I had Freeman as a top 10 back this week. I think he's going to have all the carries he can handle. They're playing Dallas, so like I said, not a juggernaut. I do like Johnson. If Johnson was like the guy, if it was Johnson and then some other scrub backup, I'd say Johnson, of course. But he's still going to have to steal these carries away from CJ. And receiver, I've never been a Golden Take guy. I just don't think he's that great.
I'd go with, honestly, I'd say Golden Tate, only because I think it's going to be pass this whole game. PPR, Golden Tate. If it's not, Devontae Freeman. But based on PPR only, Golden Tate's the way to go.
Yeah. I do like David Johnson.
It's half a point.
It's half a point. That changes.
Half a point PPR.
He's throwing it out there at you.
But yeah, right now I have Eddie Lacy on my bench due to the ankle injury.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Obviously, if Lacey's playing, you definitely got to throw him in there. But yeah, he was a big letdown this week. Yeah,
I have him on the bench. I got Deion Lewis and Chris Ivory starting, so I'm just worried about that flex. Right now, I have Freeman starting in the flex, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep him there. But I think he could have a big game against Dallas. So,
man,
I'll see.
Now, if I told you before the season you're going to be starting Deion Lewis, Chris Ivory, and Devontae Freeman, you would have thought you had the worst team in football.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. Running back's been crazy this year. I expect a good game out of Deion Lewis. I think it's a good play.
I hear you. All right. Well, thanks for the call, guys. Keep up the good work. I'll talk to you later.
No problem, buddy.
See
you. Yeah, like I said, even when I try my best not to have him on the show, he still somehow makes his way on. But yeah, at least he gave me props. That's very rare that people actually acknowledge it. Although we do have some people on Twitter giving us our thanks today. We had some good start sits over the weekend. And again, you can always tweet us at Sports Goombahs on Twitter with your start 'em, sit 'em questions. I know you'll have them more likely towards the end of the week. We're always there, we're always available, and always making right calls. I feel like I haven't botched that one too much. Getting back to the wide receivers here, we finished out our top 10. Going for 11 through 20, I have Jarvis Landry, number 11. He's been solid for 2 straight weeks. And Buffalo, the defense is good, but they just got lit up by New England. Again, that is New England. I understand.
Everyone's going to get lit up by New England.
But yeah, I understand that it was New England. But, I mean, Buffalo, they haven't played a road game yet. And I just think, so we can see that it is possible to throw on Buffalo. I think Landry's going to continue that. My number 12, I had Brandon Marshall at Philadelphia, or home against Philadelphia. Just for everything you said, through 2 weeks we've gotten lit up by each team's number one. The Terrence Williams didn't really light us up, but he still had like 80-some yards and a touchdown. I'll take 80-some yards and a touchdown at Brandon Marshall this week. Number 13, Jordan Matthews, who I had top 5 last week. He was a letdown until about 6 minutes left in the game. He actually ended up finishing with 6 for 80 and a touchdown, which is 20 points in a standard PPR league. So 20 points is good. I expect Matthews to continue that this week. Number 14, Jeremy Maclin. He's at Green Bay. I think they're going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose big, but they're going to lose. They're going to be thrown. And Macklin's had back-to-back good games. Number 15. This is the third week in a row I've had this guy in my top 20. And I, in the preseason show, I was saying stay away from this guy. But Steve Smith Sr., he doesn't go away. He never goes away.
He won't. He's going to play until he's 50.
And he keeps playing this well. Why not? He killed it again last week. And that was actually one of the start him, sit him somebody gave me on Twitter. I said, you guys start Steve Smith Sr. And he actually he tweeted it today and said, thanks. Good call. I won my league because you guys. Thank you. Number 16, I have Allen Robinson. Big week last week. Again, this week he's playing at New England. They're going to lose. They're going to throw. So go with Robinson. He bounced back. Number 17, Brandon Cooks. Even if Breeze doesn't play, he's still the top target. And if they're as bad as we think they are, they're going to keep throwing. And I don't really care about interceptions because when it's Cooks. Cooks will get some catches. Number 18, Amari Cooper. 100-yard game last week. Why do I have him playing at Oakland? No, it's obviously wrong. But I have
Cleveland.
He's playing Cleveland, who is it's possible to throw on Cleveland. I think Cooper's going to continue. I think he's going to have 1,000-yard season minimum. He's going to be probably rookie of the year. Number 19, Keenan Allen. Monster week 1, awful week 2. I think we'll find more middle ground in this area, 20, around 20 or so. He plays at Minnesota. And my number 20 is Terrence Williams. He's at home against Atlanta. It's possible to pass in Atlanta. Odell killed him last week. Jordan Matthews is a great week 1. And I don't think it's going to be a shootout because I don't think they're going to be, I don't Dallas is good enough to have a shootout. But I think it's still going to be there's going to be some points in this game a little bit. So I think Terrence Williams is going to continue to do good. And you got 11-20.
All right, I got AJ Green versus Baltimore. He's AJ Green. He's gonna catch a little bit. Touchdown may not come, but I think he's good for 5, maybe 80. 5 catches, 80 yards. I like number 12, Jarvis Landry. He's a very solid player. Awesome. He catches the ball yards after the catch.
He's good.
But the thing is, some leagues you get points for his punt returns, kick returns. He's a lethal weapon back there. So that
in my league he does too.
Yeah, so is mine. So number 13, I have Golden Tate. I'm basing this just on passing only, no run game.
What else are you basing off? Obviously the run game.
That's it. Number 14, Jeremy Maclin.
You don't base my receivers around running game, but anyway.
Well, it's just not going to run, so there's going to pass. So I like Golden Tate. Jeremy Maclin, number 14. he's got it, and he just took it from the Eagles and went to KC, and he's
legit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
If you can be a good receiver in Cleveland or Cleveland, well, actually Cleveland would be a good example too. But if you can be a good receiver in Kansas City, you can be a good receiver anywhere.
Yeah. I have number 15. I have Allen Robinson. I thought week 1 was terrible. I didn't know what happened.
Terrible. Yeah.
People were questioning whether start him, sit him over certain guys, and some of the stuff I was seeing, like stuff I was reading online, and you have, he was laid an egg, like he was terrible, and then last week just blew up. I'm here. It's on.
And that's what I mean. I would say that would be a little excessive. I don't expect that every week, but I think he's going to have a consistent season from his point forward.
Yes.
Bortles isn't awful.
No, he's not. Number 16, I have Larry Fitzgerald. Last week and the week before, he played well both games. He just went off last week. Carson Palmer is the two of them hit the fountain of youth. Larry Fitz he's just Larry Fitz, and he's just come back from 3 consecutive bad years.
Yeah.
Number 17, people are going to hate me for this, but I picked James Jones.
I do hate you for that. Yeah.
I do not like James Jones in any aspect.
He's so annoying.
Yes,
I drafted Devontae Adams, and it's just so annoying. And originally in a league, I drafted Ty Montgomery, and then he would have been fine for the number 3 job. But no, this loser comes back. and he can't make the Raiders or the Giants.
And he poaches touchdown to Green Bay. It drives me nuts. I hate him too, but as of where he's going, he's getting you 7.
Out of principle, yeah. Well, 7's not enough. Out of principle, I'll never put him in my lineup.
18, I have T.Y. Hilton. There's no way. The Colts are going to be that bad 3rd time in a row. T.Y. is going to get you some solid points this week. He might even move. He probably should move up on my list a little bit. But now number 19 and 20, I have – well, actually, number 19, I have Doug Baldwin versus Chicago. I have Russell Wilson ranked real high. Doug Baldwin, so far in the season, and
he's been solid.
I'm gonna say something that Driggins said earlier in the season on the show. Targets. He has 17 targets.
You pinch your words.
He has 17 targets and 14 receptions. He only dropped 3 balls this year.
Hey, it's a fantasy show. You're on.
How you guys doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Originally, I was going to call and thank you for not having that bonehead back. But
this guy doesn't like
but
me.
as I was sitting there listening, I thought it was Pat in disguise until I just heard him call up.
Nice. I told you
but,
before he even called.
But I got a question. Actually, I'm in a little bit of a bind. I know you're kind of giving up on C.J. Anderson.
Not entirely yet, but yeah.
I hate to do it and him come out and just have a monster week.
Yeah, so I said I'll give him one more shot.
But I'm also going to give Sam Bradford one more week.
Ooh,
but they've been my 2 letdowns so far.
Yeah.
But I got a 2 flex league, and my second flex I just keep pulling. My 2 running backs are Lynch and C.J. Anderson right now. Now I have T.J. Yeldon, Deion Lewis, Chris Johnson, Duke Johnson,
Click on the waiver wire.
Percy Harvin to plug in the second flex.
Well, out of those guys, I mean, obviously you're going to start Lynch. I would still give C.J. Anderson, like I said, one more week. I'm going to give Anderson one more week. Deion Lewis, I think, is a must start at this point, especially at home against Jacksonville. And as long as it's PPR, he's a must start. And then I think you see what C.J. or Chris Johnson was the other one, or missing one.
Yeah, you got Chris Johnson and Percy Harvin.
No, Percy Harvin. Johnson is a starter, so you can, if you want to roll him out as your second flex, you could do worse. The other 3, especially with two flexes. I mean, C.J. Anderson can't be on your bench yet. Not until he's full fledged, lost a job. I'd give him another week. And you said your quarterback is Bradford. Is there any other options out there?
I mean, I have Flacco, who actually had a good week last week.
Yeah, I would. So then, if that's the case, I'd still go with Bradford then. But I mean, that's rough. I'm sure you had a rough Sunday this week.
My first flex is Amari Cooper. Where you at on him?
Yeah, he's a must-start. I had him as 18th best receiver this week.
I was real happy to see that performance last week.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
Because my receivers are Hopkins and Cooper. So
That's
they're
all.
all starting.
Yeah, I see.
But
The only thing I have is I'm not a huge Cooper fan this week. I actually have him on my bust. I didn't get that far. He's going against Joe Hayden, who's one of the top corners in the league. That he hasn't.
But are you
faced
sure
anybody
he's going
Joe
up against him? Are you sure it's not going to be Crabtree against him?
Nah, I think if Joe Hayden, I'm basing it on Joe Hayden going after the number one guy. Crabtree's not the number one guy there. Cooper's the number one guy there.
We'll see.
And
But I think
if
he's
he's got to
must
play
start.
somebody the caliber of Hayden, I think he's going to be a bust this week. He's definitely, a starter. It just, in my opinion, I think he's going to be a bust this week.
That's fine.
And one more quick question.
Mhm.
I got my two tight ends are Bennett and Kyle Rudolph. Do you think Bennett's a nice safety route for?
Yeah, I think Bennett is going to continue to be good. He's
I think Claus is going to use him as a safety now.
yeah. It's just like I was mentioning. I think they're playing in Seattle, so I really don't think they're going to be testing outside or deep too much. So I think Bennett's going to have a good game. Because as I just said, as a safety valve. I think there's going to be a lot of Bennett and Forte this week.
Yeah, and there's going to be nobody else to catch the ball if Jeffrey doesn't play. So it's just going to be a lot of targets going their way.
Yeah, just dink and dump and up the middle. That's where it's going to be. So that's all Bennett and that's all Forte.
Okay, so go Lynch, CJ, and Deion Lewis this week.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Not a problem, man. Thanks for listening.
Pat in disguise.
Let's see. Yeah, no.
Am I insulted? I don't know if I'm insulted. He does pick Palmer, so he seems to be pretty smart.
Now, if I told you, man, Pat, good guy, but I've never seen someone more hated than Jesus. They hate him.
People are gonna hate me. I popped on Twitter already. Somebody hates me because I got to stick by my rankings for this week.
Yeah, you're already getting busted on.
I know. I've seen it.
We'll get to that towards the end when we answer our question of the day. Joe, you're continuing your top 20.
Yeah,
Who do you got?
The only thing I have left is number 20. I actually, I didn't rank Keenan Allen. I ranked Stevie Johnson.
That's fair.
He has 13 targets on the season, 11 catches, 2 touchdowns.
Stevie's been solid.
Yeah, Stevie's definitely been solid. I do like Keenan Allen, but he showed up, disappeared, like totally disappeared. So I went Stevie Johnson as number 20. Again, 13 targets, 11 catches. He's catching everything that's coming his way. I mean, so even if he gets 5 thrown his way, that's 5 points. Now,
just a reminder, everybody out there, we do the top 20 receivers and running backs, and you can always check out sgshow.net. Go to the fantasy football page. We put out more than just the top 20, just for time constraints. We just give our top 20.
Yeah.
Joey, any sleepers this week?
Sleeper, I actually I put Percy Harvin down. He mentioned Percy Harvin. They're gonna need tricks that get this thing going, and Percy Harvin's gonna come in there. I like Percy Harvin as a flex or number 3 wide receiver if you're starting a third one. That's my sleeper for this week, Percy Harvin.
My sleepers this week, I do actually have Michael Crabtree. I think he's gonna have a big week. I don't know who's going to be covered by Hayden. I don't know if it's just going to be a side of the field or a player. I don't really look too that far into it yet until something comes up, because you really don't know. It could change throughout the course of the game. I think Crabtree's a good play this week. My second one, I have Alan Hearns. He's at New England. If Allen Robinson does what he does week 1, somebody else is going to have to step up. I think Hearns could be that guy. Like I said, because I think they're going to throw a lot because they're going to be down a lot. Busts. I got 2 busts this week. Alshon Jeffrey. Even if whether he plays or not, I really wouldn't like him in my lineup. Like I said, he's playing at Seattle with a backup quarterback. That's like the worst situation you could have. That's the worst situation.
It's a great situation for a running back that catches, or a tight end. Terrible situation for a
they're not going to be going outside or deep too often. They do throw a lot of screens, but again, this is also a guy who's not 100% healthy anyway.
Yeah.
And my second one, not that he's a bust, but that he's like good and you shouldn't. It's Travis Benjamin. I don't want people going out there and saying, I got to start Travis Benjamin this week. That's not going to happen.
I actually, that is my bust.
There you go.
I said everybody and their brother's going to pick this dude up because he's got bogus.
And they're going to see, he's playing Oakland. Okay, that's a good matchup. It's really not that great. He's boomer bust.
Exactly.
And he's boomed 2 weeks in a row. But they call it boomer bust for a reason.
Most of his boom was on punt returns.
Yeah, but you get touchdowns. You get points for that.
I do agree, but I'm saying that as a receiver point option, he really didn't have that much of a boom. He had more boom bust on the receiving.
My waiver wire pickups of the week, obviously Crabtree's one of them because he's not really that owned. Aaron Dobson from New England. I think he had a good weekend. I think it's going to continue. I don't think Amendola is another target in LaFell's, whatever. I think Aaron Dobson's a good pickup, at least not the start, of course. And our last guy, Leonard Hankerson from Atlanta. I think eventually he'll just phase Roddy White out altogether. Hankerson had a good week. He had a touchdown as well. And for the future, obviously not for this week because he's still not playing, but I think this is the time to strike and get Rashad Perriman from the Ravens. Their offense, or at least their receivers, have not looked good this year, and I think they're going to be excited to get him back and want to use him. Any waiver wire pickups that you saw out there, Joe?
I actually like Reuben Randall this week. Going forward until Victor Cruz comes back. People are going to pick up TJ Benjamin. I mean, if you want to pick him up and put him on there, put him on your bench, just do it, but don't start him. Please don't start him.
Now that I think about it, it's actually he hit the caller who had a previous caller. It was TJ Yeldon. He also said he had. I forgot about that. Until you called him TJ Benjamin, which is not his name.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I would avoid him at all costs. I wouldn't even waste a pickup on Travis Benjamin, to be honest. Injury updates. T.Y. Hilton, he did play last night. They're still saying there's a chance he couldn't play. We saw Dante Moncrief did. I didn't have Dante Moncrief in as a wire pickup because he's probably already owned. And he killed it, though. And I think if he gets a lot of targets, he can continue to do that. I think Andre Johnson, we can pull the plug on Andre Johnson.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things I've been
that.
saying this since the preseason show. I don't like Andre Johnson this year, and I'm glad I was correct there. Yeah. Eric Decker looks like he's going to be out for at least a week, if not more. He's a chance he plays, but it's mostly he's going to be out. One problem is his backup is, I believe his name is Chris, but it's a Wusu. Was to be the guy who I would like, but he got hurt as well. And they really don't have a fourth receiver. They have a guy who has like one career catch. Yeah, it sucks because I would love to start a second Jets, whoever the second Jets receiver is. They're probably going to go up there and sign somebody. I don't know if Hakeem Nicks or whoever, but it's nobody to pick up yet. And the last injury update would be, I guess, Victor Cruz. He's not playing this week, they said, because it's a short week. But if he's out there, I think you can maybe start getting him now. And after he plays Thursday, he'll have a 10-day, 10 more days to get healthy for the final, or from the I wouldn't say final stretch, but the last 10 so games of the regular season fantasy. That's what I got from my injury pickups. I don't or anything you else have to say about receivers.
Nah, the only thing I got is I actually like Marquez Lee if you're going to pick him up. I'm not a huge Allen Hurns fan. I like Lee a lot. A couple guys.
I like Lee better, but I think Hurns has
Hurns has the job.
Yeah.
I think Lee over the next couple of weeks, he's coming off little injury. I think he could take it over. So if he's available, I'd pick him up.
Now we had our question of the day out there: who has been the biggest disappointment we have out there on Twitter, Facebook, however you want to get in touch with us? A couple answers. A lot of people said C.J. Anderson has been he's 6 wins. Lamar Miller a close second was somebody said a lot out there. Another person seconding that Lamar Miller, big bust. Another person, C.J. Anderson and Lamar Miller. So it looks like it's consensus with C.J. and Lamar, C.J. Anderson and Lamar Miller. Frank Gore was mentioned by somebody. He has been a bust. I just don't with Frank Gore. I don't think you wasted too good of a pick on him. Yeah. So that's why I consider more of these top guys a bust. Somebody else mentioned DeMarco Murray, of course, who is. Like I said, I don't think he's been as big a bust as it sounds. I just think, that wasn't a great pick.
But if I'm going this right now, like if I'm going 2 weeks in, so far my wasted pick, my bust is Andrew Luck. Everybody took Andrew Luck in week 5.
And I was going to say that too.
Just for a weekly purpose only, the 2 weeks in.
Yeah,
he was going in the season. He was going to win you weeks by himself.
Of the guys we mentioned, I mean, Luck obviously by far is the one who can and will turn it on the most.
Yeah, and
the question being who has been the biggest bust through 2 weeks. I think it's got to be Andrew Luck.
It's definitely Andrew Luck. That's my thing. If you're flagging a bust for the whole season, you want to give the guys you named great.
Yeah.
But you're going just strictly 2 weeks, which I think they were talking about.
Yeah, just 2 weeks. I think it is
Andrew Luck. Because he could have easily won you games. Like last year, he won games for people by himself, flat out. Nobody else had to go out there almost. And but this year, he's just strictly killed owners.
Now we did receive a tweet earlier in the show. From somebody who's not a fan. I guess you mentioned they're not a fan of your choice here of benching Le'Veon Bell. Now you didn't advise benching Le'Veon Bell.
I did not.
I will preface that you didn't say to bench him. I just posed the question: would you bench him over, or would you bench him in favor of Marshawn Lynch and Chris Ivory? And you said yes.
I said yes. I have to go based on my rankings.
You don't always have to. Sometimes you can second guess and realize, wait, I was wrong.
Yes.
He did note the Rams, the stellar defense you're talking about. They just give $185 to the Redskins.
That is true. But I I get where you're going with this one, but
We'll
he hasn't played.
We'll agree
he
to
hasn't
disagree.
played- he
You're
hasn't
wrong.
he hasn't played, so you have to take a little bit of that into it. Like I said before, I said I picked this guy going into the league or going into the season. I'm drafting him a top 5.
Yeah.
But this week, based on weekly rankings, I take Chris Ivory.
All right, we got a couple start-sit questions out there also on Twitter. Gilmore from, I believe, the Ravens, actually. I don't know who Gilmore is, really. I do know, but I don't. Or Eric Ebron. We don't talk about tight ends much, and tight ends, kickers, and defenses. One of the reasons I'm stated this on the preseason show is when it comes to these positions, you pretty much have you don't have backups of them. Thinking who's the start sit.
Yeah.
Some people may have backup tight ends. I don't really usually advise to it, but in that situation, I'm going to go Ebron.
I totally agree. I mean, he's just catching everything coming.
I think
his way.
I want to say he's going to score a touchdown, but he's a guy who's going to score at least a touchdown every 2 games.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, I say he's going to score every week. I don't think he's going to have 16 touchdowns, but
No.
I think 8 to 10 is a good range for Ebron.
Yes.
We actually got a defensive question, which is crazy to me. Again, this is all from @JoeChoi93. Texans or Broncos for his defense? Texans are playing Tampa Bay. Broncos playing Detroit. I think Texans are the play there.
I agree. I mean, the Broncos, they'll get you silly points because they'll probably force a fumble here.
And they've scored a touchdown
there.
they've scored a touchdown 2 straight weeks.
Yes, but that's not going to happen every week.
I just think Jameis Winston going on the road against J.J. Watt, I think it could get ugly.
Yes, I agree.
And finally, we got a couple going Terrence Williams or Travis Benjamin. I think we already explained that. Do not go with Travis Benjamin.
No, do not.
Whereas Joey calls him TJ Benjamin.
Yeah.
Go with Terrence Williams.
I had TJ Yeldon written down. And
whatever.
that one down.
And another one, Amir Abdullah, a name we haven't heard at all on the show, which we have previously. But Amir Abdullah or David Johnson. I like David Johnson. I mean, it's a shame that these are your choices.
Yeah.
Abdullah
is starting.
Abdullah's,
if
I
you're
would
going
say,
with a starter.
safer.
Yeah,
He's safer.
bet.
And he does have explosion. So usually a guy who is safer and is explosive, you'd go with that. But I don't see it. And he's playing Denver. I think David Johnson. I think he's gonna score some points. Also, somebody else tweeted us and said, kind of laughing at us from last week. I had Mike Evans. I said I expected Mike Evans to bounce back. He had prompted to put up 0 points.
Yeah.
So somebody had to make fun of me, of course. You can always, like I said, tweet us throughout the week at Sports Goombahs on Twitter with your Stardom 7 questions as we get closer to the weekend. And that's all we got for you tonight. We will be back, as always, next week. Probably it's going to be Tuesday because yours truly is busy going to the Union game. So next day, it's probably going to be next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Of course, we will let you know. Tweet us your questions, as always. See you next week.
Have a good one. Hopefully, I'll be back soon.
Probably not.
Yeah, it happens.
Where's Pat?
Me and Pat just did a show.